There was an idea in the early 2000s to construct a building whose purpose was to artistically enrich, teach, and entertain the city of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This building is a tool, a vessel, to inspire creativity as well as foster community.
The Ware Center has become known as the home for the cultural arts, and the importance of that is that the visual and performing arts in any community ends up giving a space for unique dance, unique theater, cultural events that help you better understand a community member's background, where they've come from.
I was the person who somehow learned about Philip Johnson as a candidate to design the building through some architects that I knew, and they were personal friends, and they suggested Philip Johnson be a candidate among the others that were being considered for design of the building.
And for me, Philip Johnson, of course, was a name. He's one of the major architects of the 20th century in this country.
Being a very well-known architect, it was, it was kind of exciting and thrilling to have somebody like that be the designer here.
The ideas would soon come to fruition, and under the vision of the late architect Philip Johnson, that vision would now become a home. This is that story. This is the Ware Center.
It's made me understand better than I did before, I think, just how transformative the arts can be in people's lives, what a healing power it has.
With music as the focal point, the plans for the Pennsylvania Academy of Music were laid out in the early 2000s by famed architect Philip Johnson and acoustician Cyril Harris, the last project the two had worked on before their deaths.
They laid out the requirements in terms of how many practice rooms were needed, how large a space they wanted for performances. They mentioned the need for a library space where they could accumulate books, materials. So they specified that as a necessary part of what the school would need. And they also wanted to be sure that the space was up to the standards acoustically that were essential for good sound.
That was a challenge. There were underground foundations that we had to remove. We had soil pipes from neighbors, sanitary lines that had to be relocated. Those were some of the challenges. And, there's always an opportunity on the other side of a challenge, so you get to learn about something else because you have this challenge. And the design actually started in 2003, and we didn't really start construction until 2006.
On May 20th, 2006, the Pennsylvania Academy of Music building broke ground in Lancaster, 1 year after the death of Philip Johnson. Steinman Hall, the intimate 350-seat theater, is perhaps the building's main attraction. In this hall, some of the finest artists in the world have performed. The room's acoustics were designed by Cyril Harris, who designed acoustics for concert halls such as the Kennedy Center.
I would say this room is my favorite because I had become a music lover of classical music, and I had very discriminating requirements in terms of quality of the sound. And music was a major part of my life. Just listening, I'm not a musician, but just listening is so rewarding and has been all my life. And so I wanted to make sure that we had the finest quality of sound.
Because this is the heart of the Academy. This is also the heart of why we built this building.
Love the hall, the intimacy, and the acoustics are perfect. And the acoustician who designed it, he was really attuned, and it was the first time that he and Philip Johnson ever worked together.
Harris believed that you didn't use mechanical things, you designed the space that it would carry the sound. And this is designed for chamber groups, small groups. So when you get a lively performance here, it is lively when you sit in the audience, but it's a wonderful, very special space.
You see, I always pictured that as being the sort of the little jewel in the crown. And the acoustics is good, right?
My favorite space in the Ware Center is the atrium, located on the 3rd floor. It's a space that has an open-air ceiling. It's a glass ceiling that in the evening, when we run our jazz series, we have a Club 42 series, or we run our cabaret series, we have conferences there. You have the ability of actually seeing the stars through the ceiling and having lights that, again, will just illuminate the area to make it a really special, intimate space for presenting.
The atrium, of course, is a wonderful space. I think it would have been wonderful even without the skylight, but it's more useful that way.
Despite all the successes, the PAM building would have a massive roadblock in front of itself. The building opened in 2008, right in the middle of the 2008 financial crisis. On May 27, 2010, the Pennsylvania Academy of Music building filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
The Pennsylvania Academy of Music fell into financial difficulty, especially after the recession in 2008. And in the middle of building the project, it became clear that the institute wasn't going to be able to survive very long.
Perhaps in a different world, the dreams of Francis Very ended right there. But life isn't like a classical concerto. It is more like an improvised jazz solo. It takes us to places we would have never expected. In June of 2010, another Pennsylvania institution peered its eyes on the property. Enter Millersville University. With the closing of the PAM building, the Lancaster community lost its center of the arts. The building, now known as the 42 Prince Street building, would be put on the market for purchase. Lancastrians watched and waited for any news of a new owner. Millersville University, just 15 minutes north from the Ware Center, had plans to renovate its own art center on its campus. After much thought, Millersville University decided to expand its place in the arts to Lancaster City.
It was very good news to those of us who were involved with the music school when we learned the university was going to be able to acquire this and that this building wasn't going to be turned into an office building or store or something like that. It was just very uncertain about the future of this campus, and the university coming in has just been wonderful. It's a win for the students, win for the community, win for the university. So, yeah, very, very powerful story.
Millersville had always wanted a site in downtown Lancaster due to the up-and-coming nature of the city.
People were very impressed by it. Of course, initially, when all the financial problems and when the academy happened, it created a lot of mixed reactions and feelings and things.
2 months after the PAM building closed its doors, Millersville began leasing it. It was at this moment the university was building up to its own crescendo. On behalf of Millersville, and thanks to the help of its generous donors, the Pennsylvania Department of General Services bought 42 Prince Street from Union Community Bank for $10.9 million in March of 2011.
I think from a community standpoint, the amount of people involved, the Wares, the Steinmans, and then the list goes on, that came together, that had a vision.
At this point, 42 Prince Street was renamed Millersville University, Lancaster. The name stuck until September 12, 2011, where, in a dedication ceremony in Steinman Hall, the building was renamed for the last time to the Ware Center, after Paul and Judy Ware. The Wares were some of the most generous of the benefactors to purchase the building for Millersville.
Since the university's taken over, we have been upgrading or changing some things. The building has gone through a few changes after the university purchased it. We made some modifications to the 3rd floor to make it more friendly to the hosting of events and capacities to do cooking and things.
I would say that I think the building is in good hands. and I suspect it will be maintained. And judging by its current appearance, it's been well maintained since Millersville University's taken it over, and it looks almost like the day it was built.
In 2012, a $2.4 million renovation project was started. This was done to adapt the building to the needs of the university, such as larger class spaces and improvements to Steinman Hall.
You know, more and more people were coming in, and, you know, over the last several years, it's become such a hub of activity that more and more people have become aware of it, they're using it, and so now, you know, people are always, you know, they're glad. People who have been involved from the beginning are glad to see the building being used so much and being an asset to the city.
For the most part, I mean, my reaction, or my remembering of the reaction of the community is, wow, what a building. I mean, building could live in any city in this country and stand alone. It's classic yet modern.
With Millersville at the helm, Lancaster once again had its home for the arts. Millersville wasted no time in getting to work, bringing never-before-seen or heard artists to the area.
We bring arts that you would never see in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and still can't in any other place but the Ware Center or the Winter Center.
I'm a part of each and every event that takes place here, and that goes from whether or not we're doing police and fireman awards for the local government, or whether or not we're hosting Jake Shimabukuro, who is an amazing ukulele player, to again having a veteran spoken word. So I'm involved in all the events, and we want to make sure that there's always something being offered for someone in the community, that there's some unique opportunity that they can come and experience the cultural arts.
It's been a great thing for Millersville University to have a presence in the city, and it's certainly been a great thing for the city to have Millersville's presence here again, because this is basically at this point the cultural arts center in the community. It's the only place, the one building where you can get every kind of art you could possibly imagine, and also that's accessible. Service, it's about what we can do, and it's really nice, I think, for the city and the university that we're here.
Lancaster's really a vibrant place. There's a lot going on here, a lot for young people to do, college students to do. And I think the Ware Center provides a destination for students. So I think it really gives a downtown anchor and connects the city to its primary public university just down the street.
The building answered the calling of the program. We didn't put up a building and then put in a program. We answered it served the purpose, and so that it was marvelous. And the fact that the city it's in the city, I think it's wonderful.
Why do I feel it's important that this gives back? Because everything is community. If we're all going to survive, we have to have community. It's just what it is. We have to have collaborations. We have to be with one another. What the arts do for humanity. So we're talking community, we're talking humanity. The arts are our conduit of our brain, our spirit, our soul, right down to the earth. We're talking building, I know, but what can take place in the building can give back to the community. Not necessarily the building itself. The community gives to it, it gives to the community. It's kind of like that. That's what it is. The arts and community are together.
The fact that when Millersville picked it up, the thing that made it, it brought it to life. It brings the life into the community. It brings the life into the downtown, not only on the inside and the outside. The fact that the students are here in one of the world's renowned quality buildings and auditoriums, I think should influence how you act over time and how it reacts to the students over time.
It could nurture students, but it could also nurture a lot of performing faculty, so that it was both a professional venue as well as a venue that could nurture students as well.
So part of our mission is to combine the two and to better the lives of the people in the community through helping them understand cultural differences, helping them to find a place to express themselves creatively, and to also just share ideas, thoughts, feelings, having that kind of gathering space and location, and that's what the Ware Center has become.
You look at a bird, right? They are connected with the earth. They understand it. They make little sounds. They make vibrations, connecting themselves with the earth. We don't have that luxury. The closest we get is the arts, I think, the arts that take place in this building. So then we're giving to the community because that's the closest we have.
If you'd say the most beautiful sound in the hall, that was part of it, was to create a hall where all the instruments and the human voice could be heard.
Acceptance and imagination, empowerment, I think they're really important too. But they all tie together, and they're all part of education. In a more, like innovation, if we'd have an innovation, I'd love to see innovation in education even more. And this facility could help offer that, and it probably does. It definitely does, I know that.
It's also a way for people to come together, which is very valuable now. It builds bridges rather than builds walls, and between different peoples.
I think we did a good job of integrating and speaking to the community and talking to them and bringing them along as the project came along.
I'm gratified to be able to be of a little bit of help to the community and to bringing the campus and the community together through the arts. It's made me realize that it can make lives richer and better and open people's eyes up to new perspectives and to build bridges between different groups. And we do that through a lot of community partnerships with various agencies and individuals, of course.
With the Ware Center helping to introduce the arts back to the city of Lancaster, the building itself has become more than just a building. The Ware Center is a place of gathering, learning, and sharing. It is a place to bring people together under a common goal, the arts.
It's not about the bricks and mortar, it's about the vibrations that go on inside the building.
Now the Millersville University of Pennsylvania owns this building and has filled the space with lively activity. People treasure this building. Lancastrians feel that it's their building.
I would hope that people would rise to the occasion and try to develop themselves to fulfill things.
Those kinds of things. In 10 years from now, hopefully everything we're doing is there that will serve the larger Lancaster community and beyond.
And I think that's been the most tremendous asset to the arts in Lancaster, and particularly now with Millersville managing this fine building.
We had always dreamt of starting a school, which we did. And we felt as though we could bring many things together. That was my vision.